happened to me a few years ago with regards to my nutrition. It might be something which is very similar to you at the moment. And I wanted to just bring up a little bit of information to reassure you that this happens a lot. It's quite a common thing that happens, and it can give you a little bit more of an understanding about things. And it's quite a common thing, which generally tends to happen as well. So what I'll be doing is I'll be discussing that, and I'll give you some overview of what we should be doing to help prevent it. And the main thing as well, what I think, which is really, really helpful for you guys, is to make sure that you know what you do leading up to this as well. Because I used to do intermittent fasting a couple of years ago, and I found that it was not working. It just didn't work at all for me. I used to get frustrated. My weight didn't change at all. And I just didn't think I was getting anywhere with things. And at the time when I first started doing it, it was like the new thing, and it was like the new way to lose body fat and get toned up and stuff like this. Everyone was getting amazing results with it, and what I could see online anyway. And I wanted to try it out, and I wasn't necessarily getting results. And now, obviously, since becoming a registered nutritionist, it's given me more of an understanding around intermittent fasting and how we need to make sure that we get the best possible results by having the understanding around what to do. Because most of the time when you do intermittent fasting, food just generally becomes more and more desirable. And it was quite a common thing that I used to do every single Friday, no fail whatsoever. I used to do this, and I think it was the weekends which affected me more than anything else. And I struggled getting out of this habit for a long, long time. And what I used to do was I used to buy cookies, and I just found them really, really palatable, and I used to consume quite a lot of them. I'd literally have I'd go to the shop and I'd buy a pack of them, which they usually come in fours. It's the problem with when we go to the shops is you can never really buy the one, can you? Which is really, really hard for people to try and pick just one bar of something what they enjoy eating. So I used to buy a pack of them, and I'd always say to myself, I'm just going to have the one. And it was never ever that way. I'd have one, and then I might have my tea, and then a little bit later on I'd have another one, and then sometimes I'd consume all four of them in one night. And at the time I didn't have the awareness of the amount of calories that I was consuming. And this is the issue that we have sometimes with intermittent fasting, is people start trying this diet out, and they don't seem to get results from it. And there's probably quite a common thing which generally tends to happen when we do fasting, is food just becomes more and more desirable. We generally tend to get to that point and that stage. It might be, after that window's finished. So you've fasted in the morning, and then it gets to lunchtime, and then you just slowly start to binge eat on more food than what you would do normally. But for me, it wasn't necessarily that. It was the weekends which did it for me more than anything. I put a lot of pressure on myself through the week with the fasting, and it got to the weekend, and I literally just went straight to the shops, and it was I've worked really hard for this, and I'm able to treat myself now. And that's not necessarily something that we shouldn't be doing. But I was quite restrictive through the week, and on weekends, this just went out the window completely. I consumed cookies, and then the next day I might have bought something else. I think another thing that I used to buy was kettle crisps. They were the large bags, and I used to have them sometimes as well. If I'd had a meal or something, I'd have it after it. And all of these calories, this is the thing, it just adds up, and sometimes we don't have the awareness of it. And it's not necessarily that we need to be tracking calories on the weekend at all. I don't think it's a lifelong habit, and I don't think we should be doing it all the time. But if you're having the awareness, and if you found out that just one weekend of the amount of calories that you consumed, it might be surprising for you. It might be surprising there. So, and at the time when I was doing this, obviously I didn't track calories. I never ever used to track calories, and yeah, that was the problem with me really. I didn't have the understanding of the amount, and when I did find out the amount that I was consuming, it was game changing for me. I don't necessarily need to track now, but when I did for a short period of time, it just gave me that awareness. And what I generally tend to do now is I just don't buy them. I think this is something that people need to understand is if you are going to buy something like this, which is highly palatable, can't get my words out, like cookies, for instance, or kettle crisps, anything like this at all, which we enjoy eating. If you're going to buy these things, you either do two things which can be beneficial for you, right? You don't buy a large amount of it, because if you buy a large amount in multi-packs, I guarantee you, especially within the lockdown period, you'll probably want to overeat on that, because you'll eat one bar of it, right? And you'll want another one, and you'll want another one. That's the thing, what I found with that. Now, what I generally tend to do now is I don't buy them. I just literally don't buy them at all, because if I was to buy them in any way at all, and I was to buy multi-packs, I would just overeat on it. It's just so simple. I see people a lot, they say, oh, I'm just overeating on this food, and like I can't stop eating. The best thing to do is just don't buy them. That is the best thing you could possibly do. And another thing as well, don't go to the shops when you're hungry, because I've done that before, and sometimes that can just spiral out of control as well. So it's just something to think about. But there is things that we generally tend to want to consume this food, and we don't want to take everything away that we love, because if we take everything away that we love, then it's just not going to be maintainable. So you might start doing that and take it all away, and then just after a period of time, you just get like, it just gets really, really hard for you, and then you just feel like you're not enjoying life. Basically, it's hard work. So the best thing for you to do then in that case is, if you enjoy eating that food, is just try to buy one of it. So if it was a cookie, buy one cookie. If it was a bar of chocolate, buy one bar of chocolate. Don't go to the multi-packs aisle and buy large amounts, because if you were to do that, that's going to affect you a lot more with your goals, and it will affect you with your overall weight loss if you want to lose weight. And that's the problem we have sometimes with diets. When we restrict ourselves, that will affect you a lot more. So it's important to know that, and if you have that awareness in the back of your mind, is if you want to consume these foods, we just need to have a plan in place. It can help you out. Yeah. So that is basically all I wanted to mention, really. It's having that understanding, because most of the time the weekday diet to the weekend diet, we can consume so many calories within the weekend period, and it can affect us. We could be in a big calorie deficit through the week, and then we get to the weekend and it just gets spoilt by, because you feel like you've worked so hard for this, and you think, I want to enjoy myself, which you should be able to enjoy yourself. I get that. I want my clients to enjoy themselves on the weekend, but at the same time, we shouldn't be just taking our foot totally off the gas, if that makes sense. Because if we do, then that is going to affect our goals, and that is a very, very common thing which happens to a lot of people when they want to lose weight. It's having that awareness, and it's just making sure that we can, enjoy the weekend still without, overindulging on foods as well, and not letting it spiral out of control. If you get a pizza, don't just buy a pizza with, highly calorific drink and a bar of chocolate and a bag of crisps. You don't need all of that. We can have something and we can enjoy certain types of foods, but at the same time, don't just go crazy with things and think, oh yeah, I'm like really looking forward to tonight and I want to enjoy myself, so I'll get this and I'll get that and I get that, and you just go to the shops and you just buy whatever you want, and you just buy big bags of them, and you sit them back down in your living room, and you're watching TV and everything else, and all of a sudden your hands just like constantly going in and just taking things, and it can spiral out of control because you're not actually aware of what you're eating. You're not necessarily hungry either. I've done this before. You're sitting watching the TV and you're eating and you're thinking, actually, I'm not hungry yet. I'm just eating because it's there. And this is the problem we have. We buy these products, right? and we put them down in the living room when we're watching like a Netflix program or a film or something, like a lot of people do on the weekend, especially at this period of time because we can't really go out. And it can spiral out of control. It really can. And no exercise is gonna help you, unfortunately, because calorie deficit doesn't just come from exercise. It comes from a lot more other things as well. But I don't really want to go into too much detail with that today. I just wanted to give you the understanding of, if you're going to treat yourself, you need to make sure that you have a method in place as well. There's plenty of methods out there. It's not just intermittent fasting as well. We just need to look at a method behind it. Try not to go crazy with things. Enjoy your diet. Don't restrict yourself too much through the weekday like I did. And that can help you out. So let me just read. Okay. So I used to eat tuna crisps. Yeah. It's exactly the same, Dominique. I was exactly the same. Yeah, best way, don't buy them. Yeah, and some people find that works well for them. Do you know what I buy? I buy protein bars. I find them great because I can just have the one. They probably contain like 200, 250 calories, 300 max. Depends on which bar you're getting, really, to be honest. Some of them are a little bit under 200, actually. But yeah, and to be honest, I'll have that one bar and I'll be like, I'm satisfied. It's great. Make your own low-fat pizza, yeah. Do you know what? I find the pizzas from Asda really good, and Sainsbury's, the ones they make. I find them amazing. Like and they're quite low in calories as well. If you were to get like a thin and crispy or a stone-baked one, you're on for a winner. I mean, if you go into like something like Domino's and stuff, the calories are just going to go through the roof. But yeah, something like that, really, really good. Can't train off a bad diet, yeah. Yeah, protein keeps you fuller for longer. That's the thing. So these things matter. And that was probably one thing that I brought up on my post as well is, if we consume things like, protein, fibre within our diets, foods which are, are on the satiety index. That's the thing. If you were to search that on Google, foods which are high on the satiety index, keep you fuller for longer, that can help you out as well. Because I did intermittent fasting for a bit and I found that was really helpful, is food just becomes more desirable and you want to eat more calories within that other window. And the best way if you're doing this is to do that. Protein is the most satiating out of the macronutrients, so it's going to keep you fuller for longer. So it's great to use. It is really, really helpful for you. And I think white potatoes is one of the highest ones on the carbohydrates for keeping you fuller for longer, more than anything else. So yeah, I bought a fast book actually. Oh yeah, there's loads of intermittent fasting. I mean, it's been going now for a few years, and when I first started the diet, it was like I found it didn't work for me, and I just know the reasons why now. And for me now personally, intermittent fasting is great because I love eating later on in the evening. It's like I love it. It's like it's my thing. I have more cravings later on in the evening. I don't crave food in the morning at all. I'll get up in the morning, I'll have a coffee, and then that's it. And I'll be drinking water throughout the day in the morning, and then that's it. I literally don't need to. And that happens for a lot of people as well. Some people are in the same sort of point of view, is they think that they need breakfast in the morning. If you're hungry in the morning, that's great. If you enjoy eating breakfast, don't do intermittent fasting. Don't restrict yourself in that way. There's plenty of other non-tracking methods to help you out. But yeah, just do that. It can really, really help you out and can give you the overview of, you just save your calories. I have my cereal at like 8 o'clock at night, 7:30 at night. It's weird that, isn't it? That's the thing. People think, oh, we need to have our breakfast in the morning. I need to be having my lunch. Sometimes someone might want like something at a certain period of time, and they may think, oh well, I shouldn't be eating that at that time. You can eat what you want at any time you want. It doesn't necessarily matter. You're not going to gain any more body fat from consuming food later on at night. That's another myth as well. It's just having that understanding. And it can be game changing for some people as well, because a lot of people are really busy in the morning. Obviously not at lockdown at the moment, but some people are like, they get up in the morning, you've got to get to work, and you know, they're having to look at emails and stuff like that, and they're really busy and they're not necessarily thinking about food. So that's probably an ideal time to take the food away and eat when you want to concentrate on food, not like when you're on the go. That's the other thing, is like people consuming food when they're on the go, when they're not necessarily thinking about it. They're just like, they might be in the car and they're having like a shake, or they might be like, I don't know, it just might be something that they eat, you know, consuming cereal in the morning really quick because they want to get out the door. And it's these things that matter a lot. It's just concentrating, sitting down and enjoying the food that you eat and not having to rush out and stuff, because if you're not necessarily hungry, you don't have to have that. So I hope that makes sense. My story on intermittent fasting, you know, I used to love having breakfast and I took it away. And I used to hate my life. But now I've totally changed. I just don't get cravings at all. So I just have that now, and it just really works for me. Yeah, okay. So I hope that makes sense to you guys anyway. If you've got any other questions, you can comment in when this is not live. I'll try and post it into my stories now as well, so people can see it as well. If you have any other questions, comment in on my post as well that I brought out today on cravings, because it can be really helpful to you and give you a bit more of an understanding. So I will leave it there for today. Have a lovely weekend, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.